الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العالمين، وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن، كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه، له الحكم وإليه ترجعون. وهو الذي في السماء إله وفي الأرض إله، يعلم سركم ونجواكم ويعلم ما تبدون وما تكتمون، وما يخفى على الله من شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى، ولك الحمد إذا رضيت، ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. صل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمينه على وحيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month of Sha'ban, this blessed day of Jum'ah. We come to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to thank Him for all that He has given us and to seek His guidance and forgiveness and protection, and to renew our pledge and commitment to do whatever we can to serve and advance the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me just remind all of us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for a big job, very honorable, very noble, but also big. And we have limited time to do it, and then we'll stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to check our performance. How well did we perform the job that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to do? So make sure that not only you take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way, but also to have this sense of urgency. You never know when time is up. So you're going to have sense of urgency to be always ready and prepared to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last time we started subject, we're talking about, most of the time we have been talking about situation of Muslims and try to identify weaknesses and try to see how can we fix those weaknesses. And we started one of those weaknesses, which is the social aspect, that it is very clear nowadays, whether in our communities here or in Muslim societies, that the social life is becoming very weak and people are moving away further and further from one another, and relationships are very superficial. I told you, very close cousins will be living in the same city and they rarely see each other except in major occasions. It's a phenomenon that is very serious because that makes us even more weak or weaker, and that takes us away from the description of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of the prophetic community or the Muslim community as one body. إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الأعضاء بالسهر والحمى, so close that it's like one body. If part of it aches, the whole body ache with it. And from the description that al-bunyan al-marsus, the very compact building or structure, we're nowhere close to that. And again, we have to identify why and try to see what are the solutions and how can we deal with this and can we fix it. I said the universal excuse that people use for every problem nowadays is that we are busy. And we're going to have to stop using that excuse, because we abused it and it becomes basically good for everything. we are justifying almost everything, every shortcoming, every failure, everything by saying, boy, I'm just very busy. And that's not true. Again, if you check yourself, nobody knows your schedule and what you do better than yourself. You will find that there is some time that is wasted. And you can do a lot better if you manage your time more efficiently. If you have a schedule and if you plan and you have good habits of sleeping and waking up, sleeping early, waking up early, things can change and can improve. So that's not true. Let's look for the real reasons. This is not the fact that we are too busy to get to know each other or to build relationships. That's not true. If we start trying to identify the real reasons, we find one is that people in general are becoming very materialistic. Very materialistic. They count everything by the dollar and cents, whatever that the currency in their country. And social and relationship does not bring money. Many people, they start seeing as waste of time. Visiting and meeting people, etc., became like waste of time because it doesn't bring any money. You cannot take it to the bank to cash it. Having very good relationship does mean nothing. So it's a major reason that people became very materialistic and relationships don't have any value, monetary value. So people are not investing in it anymore. They'd rather use that time to do some more work or make more money or shop around for cheaper products or whatever, rather than spending that time with even cousins or neighbors. So, and people are caught in this vicious cycle of spending more money to make more money, to spend more money, and etc. So there is nothing that this is not ending anytime soon. People, they spend more than what they can make. They find themselves have to make more and sometimes have to resort to illegal or unlawful ways to make that money that is needed to spend. And sometimes the husband will work a second job, and then the wife will work the first job, and then probably the second job, etc. And you get people become money-making machines. No more family. People are just making money. And that's very ridiculous, very silly. It's a very silly because happiness has never been a matter of money. Happiness is an internal phenomenon. Some people I'm not encouraging people to be poor, but I'm saying don't become a money worshiper. Just balance it with other things. Because I came to know people who invested all their lives making money and making more money, thinking that they're doing a favor to their family, but they did this at the expense of their deen, at the expense of their health, and at the expense of their family. So what's the point? What's the point if you end up with a lot of money and bad health and children who are lost and family that is broken or dysfunctional? What use that you're going to make with that extra money that you made at the expense of these things? So let's try to calm down when it comes to materialism, and let's not get into the competition that if somebody else bought something, then I have to buy it. No, you buy what you need and buy according to your means. And don't fall in this vicious cycle when you start spending more than what you make, so that you have to make more money, and then, as I said, this will never end. So that's one major reason. If you go a little deeper, you will find the biggest or the chief cause of social disintegration and superficial relationship between people, and is the main cause of this is bad manners. People's manners are no longer good. And superficial manners allow only for superficial relationships. If the manners are superficial, akhlaq, you can't get very close to each other. That's why you have to stay away, because the manners or the character is not very solid, is not very robust, and if you get very close, you're going to be exposed, or these weak manners will be tested and they will fail. So people chose to stay away mainly because of this. And everybody will tell you so many bad experiences they went through when they get close to other people, or they had misplaced trust on other people. So weak manners allow only for weak relationships. Bad manners is what is causing the isolation. People are no longer willing to take the risk because of the environment is no longer healthy. The environment, the atmosphere in which we're living, whether in communities or in societies, is no longer healthy. So people are need to be on the safe side, just stay away. There is a lot of lying, unfortunately, even among Muslims. There is a lot of backbiting. There is a lot of things that kill a relationship. There is a lot of deception. When you are deceived by someone or misled, you will never trust that person and you don't want to deal with that person. So that's what is causing these people to be more comfortable in isolation. The problem is, this is also a vicious cycle. Bad manners will keep people away, or superficial manners will keep people away from each other. But manners that are not tested in isolation, your manners are not tested. If they are not tested, they will not improve. Manners like muscles. If they are not tested, they don't grow, they don't improve. Somebody who was living in isolation for a very long time, this person, his character and his manner did not develop. Because manners and character develop in interaction. They develop in interaction. That's when they are tested. People who are in isolation, their manners will deteriorate. So we're getting to superficial manners, push people toward isolation, and isolation causes for manners to deteriorate. Once you are in isolation from people, you don't care about your manners anymore. You don't care to invest in them or to develop your character and your manner. That's extremely bad. And we have to understand that social life or social relationship is not an option. It's not something that you choose to have it or not. It's not normal for individuals and families to live in isolation. It's not normal. And you're not going to raise normal children if you raise them in total isolation from other families and other youth. And most of the time, they're going to find themselves having to look for alternatives. If you did not provide a social environment for your children, they will look for friends and alternatives somewhere else. And most of the time, they probably will not make the right choice or the good choice. So you better offer or provide that environment and have solid relationship with families, especially families that have children the age of your children. That's extremely important. And I told you, I think one time, about a very successful story that I came to know about it here, when about 10 to 15 families came together and decided to build some sort of community, and their families and their children were so close to each other, they considered each other as brothers and sisters. That was, I think, great success stories to be learned and duplicated in our community. So lying, especially lying. Nowadays, every time I talk to somebody who go back to visit a Muslim country and come back, that's the first thing they notice, that people are taking lying very lightly. People are taking lying very lightly. And they call it white lie and all kinds of colors of lies. There is no such thing. A lie is a lie. There is no such thing as this is okay, or this is light, or this is small, or anything. So lying and backbiting are the chief killers of relationship and social life. Now, let's talk about these, and let's talk about how Quran and how our deen took care of these diseases from the roots with preventive measures and with cure, with treatment, with the preventive measures and with cure and with treatment. Another reason that is keeping people away from one another, before we start talking about these problems and these solutions and the solutions in details. Many people will tell you that I have family problems, so I cannot build relationships. So dysfunctional families becomes more isolated just to become more dysfunctional. Because naturally, family has to live in some support system, some social life around it. So a lot of people will tell you that I cannot build relationships, I'm living in isolation. Why? Because I have problems in my family. Now you think isolation is going to fix them, it's going to make them worse. Isolation make family problems worse. So take this, get rid of this, because it's not true. So most probably, one of the reasons why the family is dysfunctional, because it is isolated. It's not the other way around. And healthy family usually find it easy, of course, to build relationships, but families that build relationships usually are more healthy or healthier than families that live in isolation, and they always have so much time at hand and always easily get entangled into dispute and into problems. Because sometimes both spouses have no other life except that at home. So that's why they have all the time to fight and all of the time to have disputes. No friends, no visits, no nothing. It's just you go work and come home. Of course, that's a recipe for disaster and a recipe for family problems and fights. So let's take this away, because that's, again, it's an illusion and it's a vicious cycle. Dysfunctional family find it easier to isolate, but isolated family will become even more dysfunctional and more broken. Now let's talk about the diseases that are killing the trust and killing the relationships. Lying mainly, backbiting, 2. 3, excessive or unhealthy curiosity, spying. People want to know more about each other. That's something that will make people push or withdraw from environment. If you find yourself in an environment where somebody or some people want to know everything about you or want to know too much about you, you find yourself automatically leaning toward withdrawal and toward isolation. Spying or excessive curiosity, lying, backbiting, and bias, especially when it comes from parents. And you all know the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Now bias, whether it is real or perceived, causes disaster. If your children feel that you are biased toward one of them, that's a disaster. And you have to take care of this very early on, before it takes hold, because when it takes hold, you cannot change it. Perception becomes a reality. So even if you don't mean it, if one of your children start feeling this, try to take care of it early and make sure that you are very fair. And people will become very comfortable at home that their parents are very fair. They are not biased. They say the truth and they stand with the one who was transgressed against or the victim, and they are never biased. That's not only parents, by the way. Even between friends. If one of us is biased and always stand with someone, even if he's wrong, that kills relationship and kills social life. So bias is very bad. Bias is very bad, but I mentioned especially in the context of family. The father or the mother or the older brother, if he's perceived to be biased, that will deteriorate the relationships between family members will deteriorate. Let's start with lying, because this is Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made sidq, truthfulness, as a key to all good manners. عليكم بالصدق فإن الصدق يهدي إلى البر. You want the key for all good characters? It's truthfulness. عليكم بالصدق فإن الصدق يهدي إلى البر. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, be truthful. Truthfulness will lead to everything good. Bir is one word that summarizes everything that is good. وإياكم والكذب فإن الكذب يهدي إلى الفجور. Don't lie, because lying will lead to everything that is bad. Fujur. One word that summarizes everything that is bad. So we're talking about one key to good characters and one key to bad characters, bad manners. Sadaq. It's not easy. It's not easy because it is very delicate. And I'll explain why. And it is not easy because you have to do it all the time. There is no such thing as somebody who's 95% truthful, or 75%, or 50, or 60. You are either truthful or not. Pass or fail. So it's not like if I don't get an A, I will get a B, or I get a C. It's a pass or fail. If somebody lies to you once, you will never trust that person. It's over. So it's something that you have to keep doing it all the time. And if you miss it once, it's over. Nobody will believe you. That's why it's very delicate. Something that you have to keep doing it all your life. And there is no room for mistake. Because one mistake will destroy everything. All the credibility that you have been building all your life will disappear, will vanish, will evaporate with one lie. And it is very delicate. Why? Because lying, and like what people think. Because many people think lying, when you hear the word lying, what comes to your mind? It comes to your mind that somebody makes up a story. No, that doesn't happen. That's very rare. I mean, I just imagine a story and tell you something, I make up a story. No. That's not the biggest thing to avoid. Nobody does it. Only people with mental health will make up stories. But normal people will not make up stories. So what's the problem? People will exaggerate. That especially if you are biased and you're narrating story, you will tweak it, you will exaggerate some parts and reduce other parts. You will play with it. That's very hard to avoid. Saying things exactly the way you saw it, the way it happened. 2, half-truth is a lie. There is a story and you mention only part of it. That's a lie. Half-truth is a lie. So if you withhold one piece of information and therefore you end up misleading the other person, that's a lie. Because what matters in lying is what? Is the misleading. If the person is misled, whether by exaggeration, whether by half-truth, it doesn't matter. There is someone who was deceived, who was misled. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam described this in a very harsh language. This situation will say, هو له مصدق وهو عليه كاذب. That the person is believing in you, in what you're saying, but you're lying to him. هو له مصدق وهو عليه كاذب. He was describing part of but this situation, when a person listens to you, believing in what you're saying, but you are lying to him. You're deceiving him. You're misleading that person. So this is we're talking about ourselves. Be careful when you say something, it has to be truthful. There is another type of lie. This is very common in media. It's very common also among people. I can mislead you without doing half-truth and without exaggerating. Quran calls it وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. You mix. If I tell you a story and I mix facts with my opinion, I mix them together, I'm lying to you. Because these have to be separated. Tell me the facts, and then if you want to give me your opinion, if I need it, tell me your opinion. But not mix them together. Because there is big difference between your opinion and between a fact. And I'm not interested in your opinion. If I need it, I will ask for it. You want to tell me something? Tell me the facts. That's why let's train ourselves to be very honest and very truthful. Let's train ourselves. When you say something to people, tell them these are the facts. Now I'm going to tell you my opinion about it. That's the way I think about it. But that's not a fact. So separate the two. That's if you want to be really very careful and want to avoid all forms of lying. So no half-truth, no exaggeration, and then no mixing of facts and opinion. These are the facts. Now, if you want my opinion, this is what I think about it. This is if you want to become a community, a prophetic community, like community of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Very hard, very hard. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir, falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah and the hereafter, let him say something good or keep quiet. So you always have the right to remain silent. If you say that's hard, okay, just stay silent. Make silent. Being silent is the norm. And when you speak, you're going to have to be very careful about your words. By the way, most people end up in hellfire because of this. That's not my words. That's what Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. That's what Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Mu'adh. Because nowadays, how can you hurt people? Can you hurt people physically? You can't. There is a law and you find yourself in trouble. So physically, you can't hurt people anymore. So the only thing is left is with your tongue. You can destroy the reputation of somebody. You can destroy the honor of someone. You can do so much damage. You can make two friends, turn them into enemies just by the words that you say. You can mislead people. There is so much damage you can do to individuals and to the community just by the words you say. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu, most people are going to end up وَهَلْ يَكُبُّ النَّاسَ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ فِي جَهَنَّمَ إِلَّا حَصَادُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. That's what causes people, that's one of the main reasons. Because nowadays, especially nowadays, probably at certain point in time, societies or tribes were lawless. So people can hurt each other physically. There is no law, there is no jail, there is no court, there is nothing. But that's not the case anymore. So hurting people physically now, it's not an option. But most people are hurting each other by their tongue. So try to be very truthful when you say something, and you will see, I'm sure that most of you are trying, and most of you inshallah will be are trying to be honest and truthful, and most of you are feeling the peace of mind and tranquility when you are truthful. You fear nothing. Now, if I'm not truthful among you, and I see two of you talking, I will be afraid. Why? Because I may have told you a different story than I told him. So I am always anxious, always under stress, always under pressure. But if I'm truthful, if all of you gather in one place and talk to each other, I can go home and sleep. I don't mind. I have no worry. Why? Because I did not say something wrong, and I did not say contradictory things or different things to different people. It will build a peace of mind and tranquility beyond imagination. When you are truthful and honest, and don't say anything that will cause you one day to apologize. لا تقل شيئا تعتذر منه. Don't say something that may cause you one day to apologize or to be embarrassed, if it is known. Now, there is privacy in life, but there is a difference between privacy and secrecy. I keep something private, but even if you come to know it, it doesn't bother me. But if I do something wrong, if you come to know it, that's going to be embarrassing. That's lying. Backbiting. Ghibah. The definition of it, because I know some people know it, but just as a reminder. It's not to say something wrong about your brother in his absence. It's to say something bad even if it is true. Something that he would not like it. something that you wouldn't say in his presence. That's backbiting. And that's probably even harder to avoid than lying. Backbiting is to say something bad about your brother in his absence, even if it is true. Something that he does not like, something that you wouldn't dare to say it in his presence. How Quran describes this. أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيِّتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Backbiting is like what? It's like eating the flesh of your dead brother. How bad it is. أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيِّتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. It's not ethical. It's not, I don't know how to describe it. Because if you are brave, talk about people in their presence. It's cowardice to take advantage of the absence of someone and start talking about him. It's very improper behavior that we have to get rid of it. Not only don't say it, but also don't listen to it. This is something that we have to eliminate if we want to re-establish relationships among families and communities. Lying and backbiting has to be totally eliminated. Let's say the backbiting minimized, brought to the absolute minimum, if not eliminated. That's when people are going to start becoming comfortable, getting close to each other, and dealing with each other when they have their back covered. But if we are a group of people who know each other, and every time one of us is absent, we indulge in backbiting, that relationship is not going to go far, and is not going to last for long. So lying and backbiting have to be eliminated completely, and that requires us to control our tongue and keep this hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this short hadith. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whoever believes in Allah and the hereafter, let him say something good or keep silent. You are responsible for every word that comes out of your mouth, and make sure that it is not harmful. At least it's better that it's useful, but if it is not useful, at least it is not harmful. وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه. نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, in closing, because of time, we're going to come back to this inshallah and talk about the wonderful and effective solution and prescriptions that our deen has for these things to be eliminated completely and to have a very solid community as the prophetic community. But again, it's almost close to halfway through Sha'ban, so Ramadan is around the corner, and I'm going to remind myself and you, inshallah, to get ready for this great season. This is not the Ramadan that we were told. This is not the Ramadan that people don't prepare for it, or prepare for it with food and stocking food. This is the Ramadan that it's a season that people will prepare for it mentally and preparing schedules and plans so that you go through a life-transforming event. You emerge from Ramadan much better worshipper, much better servant of Allah, much better human person, with much better character, with a stronger will, with somebody who's with this much stronger self-restraint. It's so much can be achieved in Ramadan, and so much can be gained, but only for those who prepare for it. So prepare your piece of paper and pen, schedule, very effective time management. Time in Ramadan is very tight. Between Maghrib and Taraweeh and Suhoor and work and etc. It's a very tight schedule. So it has to be managed very, very efficiently. If you are lousy in your time management, you're not going to take advantage of the month. And then set for yourself challenging goals to fulfill. When it comes to praying in the masjid, when it comes to reciting Quran, when it comes to taraweeh, when it comes to dhikr, and to the dua, because it is the month of the dua. It is the month of Quran, it is the month of Qiyam al-Layl, and it is the month of dua. So get ready for that season to take full advantage of it. And remember that people can emerge from Ramadan as if they are born again, newborn. And they can emerge with mountains of good deeds and all their deeds wiped out. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا توفنا وانت راض عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك ومتعنا اللهم بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم. اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان واجعلنا ممن يصومونه ويقومونه إيمانا واحتسابا. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربونا صغارا وارحم موتانا وجميع موتى المسلمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وأقم الصلاة.